It's been over a year now that we've owned our own off-grid property. We're still camping in and around our shed and dream of building a more sustainable and simple life. I just wanted to share some of the highlights with you and some of the insights that I've had along the way. This is what our property looked like in June 2021 when we put an offer in for it. Our property is in the northern tablelands and the southern area of the granite belt. And this is what it looks like now. We put a lot of effort into getting it cleaned up because we are living in a bushfire prone area, just around the shed area. So this is just over 12 months of us owning the land, and the grass has become so much greener since we've been cutting it. We'd love to have a beautiful cold climate food forest here one day. We've started, and I'll give you an update on that soon. We've had some record rainfall due to the La Nina event, and it's good for us. Our creeks and dams have been filled, but in other areas of New South Wales and Queensland there's been devastating flooding. And when we first bought the land, our shed just had a dirt floor and we were camping in here. It made it quite dirty and dusty, and all the wildlife, snakes, spiders and rats could get inside. But at least it protected us from the wild storms. We saved our money and we got a cement slab put on the shed floor, and that made it a lot better. We were very lucky that someone donated the carpet to roll out on the cement slab for us, so now the floor is really nice underfoot and we can keep it clean. We also installed a fireplace because if you've been following along with us, you'll know that our area gets below 0 degrees in winter, and we definitely needed a fireplace. And now it's nice and warm for those rainy days and those freezing cold days in winter. We have some amazing golden sunsets out here too. Our hot water system has broken down quite a few times, and our shower and toilet tent has been ripped apart in the wind. Paul got the motor working for the water well, and this water well could be 100 years old, we were able to get it working again, and hopefully we'll be able to use that one day soon. We'd like to get a windmill on top of it that would pump out the water. I've always wanted a windmill, so that would be beautiful. One of the reasons I was interested in moving out here was because I was interested in the idea of slow living. Part of slow living is understanding that the busyness of life is not ideal for us to thrive. And we have a lot more opportunity to get outside here and just be present in the moment. Obviously, our teenage sons haven't caught on to that yet. Some people think that they always need to be doing something to be being seen as being productive, or even just being entertained. And out here it's easier to switch off from the internet and all of the technologies in life. Out here it's definitely JOMO, the joy of missing out. One of our next projects was to make sure we had enough storage for our water systems. We built a base for our 23,000 litre rainwater tank that we had to bring into the property on a makeshift trailer on the windiest day known to mankind. The base took us 2 days to build. This is the tank being brought into the property over the little bridge. We were very lucky to have this tank donated to us. You can see it wobbling all over the place, and it was a bit of a stressful day for us, but we got it in there perfectly in the end. And we also hooked up some solar panels and a wind turbine to give us some power in the shed. We've started our garden. We got this rosemary down here in a pot a few months before winter. And this is what the rosemary plant looks like now after winter. This rosemary is doing great here. And before winter we got these other native plants from the Gunneman nursery. There's a native mint, a native oregano, a curry plant, and a couple of others. We're just starting small with our food forest to see how things go. This is what the oregano looks like now. The native mint plant and the curry plant. And we also went to see Sarah at the Mole River Nursery, and we got all these plants, native wattles and lamandra and tea tree or melaleucas, and yeah, we planted hundreds of these on the property. Only problem with these is some of them we didn't have enough protectors, so some of them have been eaten by the kangaroos, and possibly some have been, the ones that we did have protectors on, possibly were knocked over by sheep or pigs or kangaroos. Basically they've all been pulled apart and knocked over, so I had to go through and redo them all after winter. We've used some stronger stakes with some of them, but I think mistakes are part of the journey. And a lot of them are just holding on to life barely. I'm still hopeful for them though. And this is what they look like after I've redone them all. And the tree that looks dead and brown there at the front of the chimneys is actually an avocado tree, and that one's dying. This is the orange tree. It seems to be surviving, but the lemon tree is not doing so well. I recently watched a documentary where it showed that all the plants and trees are connected to each other underneath the ground, and the connective tissues are made up of different types of fungus. I think that's pretty amazing. It's a bit like Avatar in real life. We've had some beautiful campfires or bonfires. And we've also had some out of control grass fires. We used to have a few hundred of Richard's sheep on the property, but they've all been removed now. We were actually a bit sad to see them go, but you know, that means our trees and things might start to grow again too. And we've been through the cycle of every season. We've had a winter out here where everything froze overnight and the plants got frost and died. I lived through a few winters in this area as a university student 20 years ago, but I never had a property of my own where I was trying to grow anything at the time. So at that time, the only thing that mattered to me was keeping myself warm and going to university. But now there's so many other things, so many other factors to consider. Coming from a much warmer climate, we need to reconsider what time of year we plant our plants and our vegetables in our garden so that we get the optimum results. And we need to understand better what thrives in cold climates. Having said that, living in a climate where it gets below zero and it sometimes snows is probably one of the best aspects of living out here on this property. And the change of season is really visible here. So where we've lived for the last 20 years or so, the changes in season are not that dramatic. This is springtime. As it gets warmer in this area, the rainy season comes on. There is something beautiful and calming about the sound of soft rain, don't you think? It's the same with the sound of the songs from the birds. We had flowers in so many colours. It was like a celebration of nature. How beautiful are these? Australia is home to tens of thousands of species of wildflowers, many of which are grown exclusively in Australia, making it one of the biggest and most diverse collections in the world. And summertime sunsets look like this, a golden illumination across the whole countryside. And of course, autumn in this area and this countryside is just amazing. We went to experience the Tenterfield Autumn Festival for the first time. And the wildlife is abundant. We had kangaroos, hundreds of kangaroos surrounding us everywhere, and sometimes they would come up real close. And this one actually looks like a red-necked wallaby. It's got all the colourings and markings of a wallaby, but it's way too big to be a wallaby. So if anybody knows what kind of kangaroo this is, it would be great to know. We've seen a few different snakes around. This one's a red-bellied buck. And the eastern snake-necked turtle came to visit us as well. It's so nice to have all these creatures around. I feel like when you're watching wildlife just in their natural habitat, it actually keeps you in the present moment. So it keeps your mind off any stress or worries that you might have. And we had a very rare giant wood moth come and visit us and spend some time with us. The giant wood moth is the heaviest moth in the world. And the Australian landscape is full of giant spiders everywhere, so of course we'd had those as well. And we've had some lovely possums, a mother possum and a baby possum, come and visit us almost every night while we're staying here, because they live in the tree right next to our shed where we're camping. And so, as I mentioned, we've had a lot more rain than usual in our area, and every time we have 2 or 3 days rain, our creeks and our dams just fill up, and hopefully our tanks will fill up completely as well very soon. And the sound of a running stream is also very peaceful and relaxing. I don't know about you, but I've always tried to retreat to nature for a sense of calmness and clarity. Currently, our culture delivers the message that we're all flawed, and there's products that we need to fix ourselves. We need to look better, so we need makeup and brand name clothes and bags and shoes. And we should be in the latest fashions. Not to mention all the tummy tucks and facelifts. And we need to smell better, so we need perfumes and deodorant and body sprays. And we need to have all the latest gadgets and devices and technology. I'm really interested in this concept of human rewilding, which gives a radically different message. We are amazing just as we are. And we can learn to communicate with nature on a deeper level. As our senses expand and we become more aware, all of our distractions just fall away, and we discover a new sense of peace and adventure and a companionship with the wild. And by rewilding, we're learning to live more consciously in our world. I'm still learning to rewild. I'm still learning how to do slow living. And I'm still learning how to be more self-sufficient. Being off-grid for a year has helped me learn these things more quickly. But you can still do these things when you live in the city. And I'm not suggesting that we need to go back to a hunter and gather sort of situation. For me, it's more of a gradual process. From the busyness of life to a mindfulness kind of life, combined with a lot of time in nature. You can rewild yourself even if you're living in the city. Out here, our eyes relax at the sight of nature's artfully crafted landscapes, and we disassociate from the harsh assault of the cement jungles. And our ears become highly tuned to listening for the most tiniest change in a bird's song or a cricket's nightly chirp. And with the help of our neighbour from Darrell White Services, we got a log stacker to keep our logs for the fire nice and tidy, and it's easy to clean up. We had quite a few beautiful roast meals cooked over the fire. We discovered blackberries on our property, as well as rose hips and native olives. And we also hooked up a 4-stage water filtration system from our tank to our shed, and we added a water pump that would take the water from the tank to inside the shed to our little sink that we installed. So now we have a sink and a bench and clean running water that we can drink straight from the tap. How exciting. And we also installed a homemade leaf eater system. And our access track used to look like this. And it was very boggy and muddy and very difficult to get through. Our neighbours, Jason and Brad, organised to get the road fixed up and repaired a little bit. So the road is a lot better than it was before, so much easier to get through and even just to take the dog for a walk. So when we actually look back through the whole year, we've actually achieved a lot and made a lot of progress. All sorts of people have said that they're watching us on our journey, and I really do appreciate it. It does make me happy to know that you're here with us.